Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love to the author and me. On to the show. Zhang Wuxuang was about to call for a moment. He looked at Su Zian doubtfully and asked, "What's wrong?" Su Zian's face gradually became serious. "I suddenly thought of a possibility. The special training location in the special recruitment camp should be kept secret, right? In our school, only the top management knows the specific location of the special recruitment camp. Then the question comes. How did these human traders and the four-section insect race know the location of the special recruitment camp?" Everyone's expressions changed, especially Gu Qingzhan, the senior officials of Shenzhou University. Their expressions became extremely ugly. Zhang Wuxuang refuted without hesitation, "Impossible. Absolutely impossible. I know exactly who Lao Zhang is. It's impossible for him to get together with the human traders and the insectoids. It's even more impossible for him to be a traitor to the human race." Su Zian smiled helplessly. "Teacher, I didn't say it was Principal Zhang. There are so many people in this special recruitment camp. Who can guarantee that there is no evil intention among them? What's more, it's possible that no one has evil intentions. Is it just that young people like to show off, thus unintentionally revealing their location to their relatives and friends? It's normal to even post a daily post on a social platform and be seen by human traders." 580. Say so. But Su Zian thinks the latter possibility is too small. Most likely, it is among this batch of special admission students. A traitor has appeared. This is also the most reasonable explanation, otherwise it is simply impossible to explain. These human traitors and insectoids. Why is it so accurately positioned? Gu Qingzhan was silent for a moment with a sullen face, and then said, "Wuxuang, please contact Xiao Zhang first. But remember, I must ask him to keep quiet." At the same time, there was a pause at this point. A hint of coldness and blood flashed in Gu Qingzhan's eyes. At the same time, let him keep an eye on these people. No one can run away. We must conduct a strict investigation until the encirclement and suppression is over. Zhang Wuxuang pursed his lips, nodded silently, and went to make a call. Because the guess proposed by Su Zian is extremely possible. For the rest of the trip, the atmosphere seemed rather dull. There is also an invisible murderous aura, which can be felt from the principal and others through the communication of the optical brainwatch. Later voyage. Su Zian kept listening to Hai Tang. Because it is difficult for the brilliance to capture the traces of these people. But Hai Tang's siren can easily catch it. Just make sure the direction is correct and you haven't lost track. In fact, at this time, Su Zian was certain that the fleet must have discovered them. But there are many fleets in the universe. This situation is not unique. Therefore, for almost the whole day, the fleet in front ignored Su Zian and Hai Tang. But waited until the next day. The fleet's sailing speed suddenly accelerated. Su Zian knows. The other party may have discovered some abnormalities. However, there is nothing we can do about it. It can't be hidden. Even if there is only Hai Tang's Kraken, it is impossible not to be discovered when the opponent has a cruiser. The most important thing is, now it is possible that the other party has already merged with several star destroyers, but not necessarily. After all, it really comes together. Even the Kraken's detector couldn't even hope to detect it. At present, it is only detected by detection radar, and they cannot be seen within the line of sight. They seem to be suspicious of us. Hai Tang's voice came from the communicator. Su Zian frowned and was silent for a moment. Dialed the group communication video again. The starship is in a pulse transition state and cannot communicate with the outside world. The video communication was quickly connected. This time Lu Yuyu and the deputy commander did not answer the call again. Obviously they are in a state of space jump at this time. What's wrong? What happened? As soon as the call was connected, Gu Qingzhan asked immediately. Su Zian said, "They should have become suspicious of us. But this kind of tracking cannot be hidden. so I have a bolder idea. Gu Qingzhan's eyes moved slightly and said, "Tell me." Zian then said, "Since we have unanimously concluded that the other party's target is most likely the special recruitment camp of our school, then why don't we just take a gamble? Go ahead of them and ambush them in front. Tell Vice Principal Zhang not to run away, but to stay where you are as a bait. Otherwise, if this continues, they will soon determine that we are following them. In this case, there is no need for Zian to finish." Gu Qingzhan understood what Zian meant. After pondering for a moment, he gritted his teeth and said, "Okay, just do as you say and take a gamble. I bet their target is our school's special recruitment camp. In this case, we will jump directly to the space and conduct an ambush first. Leave a message to President Liu and tell him a brand new coordinate." Zian responded immediately, "Okay, no problem. They are all decisive people. Now that you have made a decision, implement it immediately, and the only risk in doing this is, once you make a mistake in judgment, then their traces will surely be lost. Lost the traces of such a group of people. It is definitely a disaster for the Earth Federation. Because you have no idea who their real target is. I don't even know what their specific purpose is. Like a poisonous snake lurking in the dark. I'll give you a bite while you're not paying attention. The losses will then be huge. This has happened many times in the universe. There was even a country that was slightly stronger than the Earth Federation, because no enemy was detected lurking in our own territory. Good guy, the Imperial City Star in that country was directly destroyed. Then he started causing chaos and chaos everywhere. The most outrageous thing is, in the end, they even let them escape. There is nothing we can do about this. The universe is really too big. Just hide wherever you want. The probability of finding it is too low. Just a few starships destroyed a country. You can imagine how troublesome this kind of enemy hidden in the dark is. So what do we do now? I don't know since when. Haitang has habitually asked Zian and asked Zian to make a decision. Zian didn't think so much and said without hesitation, "We will go directly there too. Just pretend to be passers-by and ignore them." Haitang didn't waste any time and directly started the pulse transition, followed closely by the brilliance. And during the third pulse transition, Haitang's dignified voice came suddenly. "Careful." They stopped. It seems to be waiting for us specially." Zian felt a chill in his heart and immediately said, "It's better to ignore them. Wait until the cooling time is up and enter the transition state directly. The waiting time is long." The other party seemed unable to determine whether the Kraken and Brilliance were following them. They stopped just to see what the Kraken and the Brilliant would do. If the Kraken and the Brilliant also stop and don't leave, they will not hesitate to swarm them and destroy them. Then he ran away and gave up the operation. In fact, they were not sure whether their whereabouts and plans had been exposed. But after some discussion, they were still confident in their concealment and their actions. If it is discovered, the Universal Human Federation had already killed them when they entered human territory. They will not take action until they enter the Earth Federation. In addition, since entering the human territory, they have been sailing in the unmanned starry sky the entire time. It took 2 or 3 months of sailing. Only a few days ago, I found a wandering planet of the human race to take a break and contact their mole. Confirm the exact location of this target. Therefore, in fact, they remained silent the entire time. Just spent a few days on a wandering planet, not controlled by the Federation army. They didn't think that they would be discovered in just a few days. And the reason why they haven't taken action against the Brilliance and the Kraken now. It's also very simple. In order to avoid extraneous branches. That's all. When their detection radar clearly detected the 2 starships that had been following behind, the pulse jump engine cooling time expired. Do not hesitate to enter the pulse transition state again. They all breathed a sigh of relief. It seems, as expected, the human race did not discover their whereabouts. Just say it. They were already so hidden, how could they be discovered? Even at great cost, he quietly broke through the human border and sneaked into human territory without being discovered. Is it possible to be discovered after just a few days on a planet? What's more, even if it is discovered, how can it be possible that only a 2.8 cruiser and a mere reconnaissance ship will come? I'm afraid they have been surrounded by the Federal Army for a long time. So impossible. Absolutely impossible to detect. These two starships are definitely just a coincidence. Thinking like this, I even waited for almost half a day. After confirming that no new fleet will appear around or in the future. No more doubts. Move on. Another 5 hours later. The fleet stopped at a meteorite belt. The 3 four-segmented bugs, wearing bug space armor, flew into the meteorite belt. After a while, 3 ferocious and ugly starships slowly sailed out of the meteorite belt. There are a total of 3 star destroyers and 5 deep space ships. Really? Except for the 3 four-segmented insectoids that Zian encountered. There are also 5 deep space ships coming. It's not hard to imagine. Their goal this time is by no means just a special recruitment camp for the Chinese Academy of Sciences. The special recruitment camp is definitely one of the main targets, but how can a mere special recruitment camp attract 3 star destroyers and 5 deep space ships? Not qualified. It is not impossible to say that their ultimate goal is the Earth Federation Imperial City. Of course, we still don't know what the specific goals are. It doesn't matter. Soon. You will know, in the universe. In a certain ultra-wide and ultra-dense meteorite belt. This kind of ultra-wide and ultra-dense meteorite belt. Mainly the debris produced after the big explosion of stars. The planets in the star system were either pushed away by the huge explosion wave, or turned into meteorite dust. For example, if the sun explodes, it will definitely be a huge disaster. The sun is equivalent to a hydrogen bomb. You can imagine what consequences a hydrogen bomb explosion with a volume equivalent to 1.3 million times the Earth would have on the solar system. This kind of explosion produces meteorite belts in most cases. After an extremely long time, they will slowly combine again under the influence of gravity. After a few years, a new planet is formed. At this time, in this huge ultra-wide and ultra-dense meteorite belt, there are starships hiding among them. Because of its small size, the Brilliance landed directly on a meteorite with a diameter of more than a kilometer. Zian even opened the cabin door of the Brilliance and stood on the meteorite to move his hands and feet. Curiously, he looked back and forth on the meteorite. Not here, look there. Because the Fengxing series space armor has its own microgravity control system, Zian can walk around on the surface of the meteorite as if he were stepping on land. After walking a few steps, his eyes suddenly lit up. Walk to a shiny place and click hard. A piece of yellow metal appeared in hand 11. Gold. It weighs more than 10 kilograms and is very pure. If this were placed on the Earth in the 21st century, he would definitely make a fortune. But now, gold has already changed from a precious metal in the 21st century to the cheapest metal today. Even if a large pile of gold weighing dozens of kilograms is thrown on the ground, no one will take a second look. At this time, several more figures flew into the sky. The space armor behind them spurted power and easily brought them over. Not someone else. It was Haitang and Lu Yuyu. This is also the first time that Zian sees his 4th senior sister in reality. As for everyone else, for example, the principal and tutors, the others are lying in wait. On their side, the main combat force is Lu Yuyu, followed by the 3rd Army. There are hundreds of cruisers, more than a dozen battleships and 2 deep space ships. This is the terrifying strength of the Earth Federation's core Federal Army. Junior brother, what are you doing? As soon as she arrived, Lu Yuyu flashed her big Kazalan eyes, stared at the piece of gold on Zian's ground and asked, curiously. Zian said with a smile, "It's okay, I just came down to do some exercise." Lu Yuyu nodded slightly, and then said with a solemn expression, "Junior brother. Although I have said it several times. But I still have to remind you. This battle is definitely not the kind you have experienced before. Even just the aftermath of the battle may be able to directly destroy your starship. Therefore, I suggest you that in this battle, you should just stay away and watch, and don't get involved rashly. Otherwise, if something goes wrong, I won't be able to rescue you in time." Zian nodded sincerely. "Don't worry, fourth senior sister. I will not be the first to rush forward when the time comes. I will look at the situation before making a decision." Seeing what Zian said, Lu Yuyu stopped talking. She is already an adult. She is a senior sister, but she cannot make decisions for Zian. At this time, Haitang said, "President Lu, don't worry. When the fight starts, I will stay by Zian's side the whole time." Lu Yuyu was indeed relieved, with a smile on her face, but her big Kazalan eyes kept glancing back and forth at Zian and Haitang. Zian pretended not to see it. "Nothing happened, so I went to the narration and used a laser to cut a piece of gold weighing almost 200 kilograms. He put it on his shoulders and started squatting directly. If it was before, doing squats with 200 kilograms of gold is definitely very strenuous. But now, with the tempering of a large number of heavenly materials and earthly treasures, Zian's physical fitness is no longer what it used to be. Even if it comes out now, there are still 2 steel grasses and 1 starflower every day. The iron is immovable. His physical fitness has been improving steadily. Although I don't know how much my body can withstand in a day. Because the biological energy has already reached the full value of the 7th grade warrior when it set off. But I guess the maximum endurance is at least 20 o'clock a day. The most comfortable endurance limit should be around 10 o'clock. Of course, there may be differences, but the differences are definitely not big. Maybe this time before going back. My own shining number. You can go back directly as a 9th level reconnaissance ship. The 7th level reconnaissance ship goes out 1 month later. The 9th level reconnaissance ship returns home. TSK. The key is that after returning to school, he may soon be involved in the evolution of the 10th level reconnaissance ship. Guess, as long as you get enough evolution points this time out. Zian is confident that from now on, there will be no reason at most. The brilliance will be at its peak as a Tier 10 reconnaissance ship. Enter the First Order frigate. Seeing Zian not saying anything, he actually ran over and did squats while carrying a piece of gold weighing 200 kilograms. In just a moment, he was already sweating profusely. Although it was quickly cooled down by the body temperature control system of the space armor. The 2 girls, Haitang, Lu Yuyu, looked at each other. They suddenly understood. Why was Zian able to become the 7th grade warrior he is today in such a short period of time after his first awakening? Just because of this hard work, they are convinced. It's exactly 6 o'clock in the evening at the unified time of the human race in the universe. Lu Yuyu happily called Zian and Haitang and entered her star destroyer to enjoy the delicious food. It was also the first time that Zian had been so close to a star destroyer. This is the first time to enter the interior of a star destroyer. The huge thing with a length of 6,758 meters brings indescribable shock to people's hearts. To know the maximum length of a star destroyer is 6,999.9 meters. That is to say, Lu Yuyu's star destroyer is only more than 200 short of the maximum length. Zian is almost certain. Lu Yuyu's starship is at every level. They are definitely entering the next level at the 9th level. Only in this way can there be enough biological energy and confidence to control such a behemoth to continue fighting. But the appearance is stunning, there is no doubt about it. The pink coating all over the hull made Zian's scalp tingle. Can you imagine a behemoth with a height of 6,758 meters, various giant guns, missile launchers, and thick and ferocious armor? How does it feel to have your whole body pink? Anyway, Zian's scalp was numb. And when Zian entered the Star Destroyer, I even got goosebumps. Can you imagine a majestic Star Destroyer, a starship capable of roaming the universe? Is it actually decorated to look like a girl's fairy tale world? The base color is pink, then stickers and sprays of various cute cartoon animations. On the other hand, look at Lu Yuyu. She introduced it with a proud look on her face. It seems like he is showing off his most proud masterpiece. How about it? Junior brother, senior sister, not only do I have a great level of evolution, but my design talent is also great, right? Just tell me how well designed my starship is. After asking, he still had an expectant expression on his face. Zian's expression froze. If only from an evolutionary level and a design level. The level of my fourth senior sister is definitely one of the best 660, there is no doubt about this. J.A.D. This decoration design style. It's just too scary. But it's impossible to dismantle the senior sister station. With only a simple contact, Lu Yuyu and his legion were on the road for 5 consecutive days, covering an unknown distance of tens of thousands of light years. Just to rush over to support him. This kindness and friendship forced Zian to lie. Ahem, what is that? Senior sister is indeed. The words are not finished yet. Suddenly, an urgent voice sounded in the light brains inside everyone's space armor. Report. Enemy target found. The other party is expected to be 90%, no. We have detected a total of 8 insectoid starships. The appearance matches, the parts match, the encrypted communication cannot be connected, the enemy is identified as the enemy. It can be 100% confirmed because of the 4-section Zerg starship. Among them, there are 3 star destroyers, 5 deep space ships. There are also 2 cruisers among the human traders traveling with us. 5 destroyers, 5 assault ships, 9 frigates. No additional starships detected. The target is about to enter the attack range. Please give the order. A quick report. It kept ringing in the helmet of the space armor. When the first sound sounded, Zian, Begonia, it was already like a gust of wind. As fast as possible. Running towards his starship. Finally come, huge fleets sailed in the universe. In the cockpit of one of the star destroyers. The disguise of appearing human has faded away, revealing the ugly and disgusting appearance of the 4-segmented insect race. The 4 body parts seem to be divided into 4 sections, with only a very thin section connecting them in the middle. How to describe it? Just like the wasp of the earth, the belly and upper part are connected. But the wasp at least looks normal, the 4-segmented bug human race. It looked misshapen and disgusting. The most important thing is that it has human-like body parts, arms, legs, etc. Anyway, it looks weird. And at this time, in front of him, there are projection images of several people. In the screen is a human being. And this human being was also talking to another person, projected in front of him. This human being is middle-aged, and the human being projected in front of him is a young man. The young man had a flattering smile on his face, and every time he looked at the 4-segmented insect race, the flattery on his face became even brighter. There's even a hint of fanaticism. The great Lord Urzixon. Although our current location has moved a bit, we can be sure that it is still within this area. Because we are looking for traces of a group of interstellar pirates. It has not been found yet, and it is expected that the search will take at least 3 days. We will never move within 3 days. In the projection, the young man replied flatteringly and respectfully. This 4-segmented insectoid named Urzixon said with an indifferent expression, "Yeah. You did a very good job. Our great 4-section insect race will definitely give you the most generous reward. The starship you need, and the evolution plan we specially prepared for you. There are also nanostar clusters, which will be placed in your secret residence for you in the future. Keep it up. When the time comes in the future, you will make greater contributions to us. Our great four-segmented insect race will specially accept you as one of us. Enjoy greatness with us." The young man suddenly felt as if he had been beaten with blood, and his face turned red with excitement. He said with great respect, "The great Lord Regressor. I will definitely work harder." He hasn't finished speaking yet. Then he saw the expression on Regresson's dead face suddenly change wildly. Then he yelled at the top of his lungs, "Be careful! There are enemies! There's an ambush! Damn it! Damn it! It's a star destroyer. The great insect god above is actually the damn federal army. We were ambushed! We were ambushed!" His expression instantly became extremely ferocious, and he looked at the confused young man in the projection. The look in his eyes seemed to eat this young man alive. "Tell me. Is it you? Damn it, did you frame us?" The young man had long been stunned by this sudden change, and didn't even wait for his answer. The other party suddenly interrupted communication. The young man stood there blankly. Sudden, an extremely bad feeling suddenly arose in his heart. Lord Regresson's fleet was ambushed. And they were ambushed by the Federation army led by a star destroyer. Impossible. They spent a huge price to finally sneak into the human Federation. If it was really discovered at that time, it would be impossible to take action now. After infiltrating, the whole process was carried out in the unmanned sky, making it impossible to be detected. After all, the universe is so vast, how can it be detected? The most important thing is that they almost all use space jumps throughout the process. Could it be that? The young man suddenly thought of a possibility. Could it be said that his identity has been discovered long ago? The reason why he has not been exposed is because he is actually fishing? The young man's expression suddenly changed. But no matter what the reason is, I absolutely cannot stay in this place any longer. Absolutely not. He didn't hesitate. Launch the starship and prepare to escape. 2. His starship has just been launched. A sigh, a sound of contempt, kept ringing in his communicator. "Oh, it turns out it's really you. Wow. I didn't expect you to be a traitor to our human race. It's a shame for our special recruitment camp. It's a shame for our Phylong Pavilion. It's really a shame for me to be of the same human race as you." The young man's expression was stunned. Then he understood. 2. Ruined. There is only one last way to go. Listening to the disdainful voices and sighs in the communicator, he suddenly looked crazy and yelled, "Why are you talking about me? Why are you talking about me? Ah? Which one of you was not born into a privileged person? Since you were young, you have had good food and clothing, and have been provided with natural resources and treasures every day to stimulate your bioenergy. As soon as you wake up, you can immediately bind tens of millions, or even hundreds of millions, or hundreds of millions of starships. And me? My dad works part-time. My mom doesn't even have a job. And since I was little, my talent has been the best in the school. But I don't have your resources. None. If I don't join the insects and get a lot of natural resources, why should I join the special recruitment camp and have the same status as you so-called geniuses? Why do you look down on me? When it comes to looking down on me, I look down on you the most. He looks like crazy, looks like crazy. Such as shouting these words hysterically, suddenly burst into laughter several times. The words fell. Without hesitation. Pulling out the pistol from his waist, he pointed the muzzle at his temple with reluctance and resentment, but his purpose was obviously going to fail. A stream of light flashed. Both arms were broken at shoulder level. "Come on, everyone. Block all roads, for me. No one can escape." Deep space carriers and star destroyers, all taken away from the main battlefield. Lu Yuyu's voice seemed to have changed when he entered combat mode. Although the sound is still so crisp and sweet. But there is an invisible coldness and murderous aura. With her order fell, all the starships that were lying in ambush emerged one after another. This is almost a one-sided battle without any disparity. The Earth Federation, in terms of the human federation in the entire universe. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is a small place. But how powerful the human race is. Even the tiny Earth Federation cannot make waves with just a few star destroyers and deep space ships. Look at the starships of the fourth segment of the insect race. As soon as they were attacked, they began to flee. But they didn't flee in all directions, because they know it very well. Fleeing in all directions, there is no other possibility except being defeated one by one. Only by uniting together and attacking in one direction can the regiment break through the encirclement. Just the response to this emergency is far from the combat thinking that those interstellar pirates can match. What a coincidence they were. Like a sharp arrow, it happened to choose Lu Yuyu's direction as the breakthrough direction dash. Maybe they were confused by Lu Yuyu's pink-painted star destroyer. Think it's best to bully. The starship of the human trader suddenly fell into panic. In panic, he quickly followed the insectoid starship in front. All of a sudden, all the enemy starships rushed towards the side. Behind Lu Yuyu, all Federation starships are dispatched. Even if they were faced with 3 star destroyers and 5 deep space ships, they would attack fiercely, and not one of them would flinch. The Brilliance was still parked in place, but its engine was started. Zian did not go up to cause trouble for the time being. This level of war is now. He did nothing but add to the chaos. He is waiting for his chance. Waiting for the enemy star destroyers, deep space ships, cruisers, destroyers, and assault ships to be pulled away. The remaining frigates are his target. 9 frigates in total. Zian was so greedy that his mouth almost watered. Don't say anything else. Just take down these 9 frigates. There is absolutely no problem in translational evolution to frigate. War. Instant explosion. And Zian. The terror of star destroyers. Lu Yuyu's star destroyer, a golden energy shield, protected her star destroyer, Wang Zhaozhao, inside. Immediately afterwards, accompanied by the sound of whoosh whoosh whoosh, a missile is launched at the speed of light or even at the speed of light. He attacked the 3 star destroyers extremely bravely. The chance of evading or intercepting a super light missile is very low. In less than a blink of an eye, it exploded on the equally golden energy shields of the 3 star destroyers. One by one, nuclear condensed hydrogen bomb warheads like the sun appeared suddenly like stars. The terrifying power is enough to destroy half of the city. The half city mentioned is a city equivalent to the size of a continent on Earth. However, such terrifying power only caused certain obstacles to the 3 star destroyers. The energy shield has not been broken. However, at least half of the energy shield has been consumed. The main purpose of this missile is just to consume the energy of the enemy's energy shield. What kind of effective damage can be done to a star destroyer by relying on a mere hydrogen bomb? Almost the same as dreaming, fighting. Completely fired. Zian also saw the terror of being the 3rd strongest person in the Earth Federation. Facing 3 star destroyers from the 4-section insect race, they refused to give in at all. Attack bravely. That one missile, those rounds of super large caliber main gun shells and secondary battery shells. Zian's scalp was numb. And it's just the aftermath of the battle to destroy the starship. This caused an enemy frigate to explode on the spot, and the 2 assault ships were damaged by more than 5 to 10%. Countless other starships were damaged. The starships of those human traders were frightened and fled in all directions. The battlefield here was cleared instantly. Deep space ship. It will be delayed by our own deep space ships and the dozen or so battleships. The enemy does not have battleships. Because the human traders only have 2 cruisers at most, and above that are the bugger deep space ships and star destroyers. Therefore, although we only have 2 deep space ships in this direction, we have the help of more than a dozen battleships. Not too empty. Support from other directions is coming soon, just hold on until they arrive. As for the rest, needless to say, 100 cruisers fighting these human traders is like a joke. Saw only a salvo. Then another frigate disappeared. Zian's face changed wildly. Then he shouted loudly in the communication, "No! No! Leave me some frigates! Leave me some frigates!" Zian shouting at the top of his lungs silenced the communicator, followed by all kinds of puff and suppressed laughter. A deep spaceship captain smiled and said, "Brothers, then leave 1 or 2 frigates for our classmate Zian. He made a great contribution this time. Brothers eat meat, we can't even leave some soup for this hero." Listen to the words of the deep spaceship captain. The cheerful voices of the soldiers came together. "Haha, no problem. You must speak quickly, otherwise we will all be harvested." "Okay, classmate Zian, how many boats do you want? We'll keep them for you." Because the situation is absolutely one-sided. So the atmosphere is quite relaxed. Especially before these human traders and insectoids have done anything bad. Just destroy them directly. Naturally, I feel better. Zian immediately shouted, "Brothers, all of them. I want all the remaining 7 ships. Besides, I don't need you to take action, just let me do it." Zian's words made the communicator quiet for a moment. If they read that right, this starship, Zian, is just a reconnaissance ship? It's okay if they don't want their help to cripple him. Want all-inclusive? At this time, Lu Yuyu's voice came. Listen to him. Lu Yuyu spoke, and these soldiers should take orders. Although it feels very confusing and strange. But no one asked more questions. Soldiers, it is their bounden duty to obey orders. Zian breathed a sigh of relief. Although he helps to cripple them, he can indeed harvest them easily. But also know, even if you eventually kill a damaged starship, you will lose a lot of evolution value. The gain outweighs the loss. Zian only needs to have a 1v1 environment by himself. So these are the remaining 7 frigates. It's all his. Because the battlefield is divided. At this time, Gu Qingzhan and the others also rushed over. On the high-end battlefield, the situation has become easier. The number of our own deep space ships directly exceeds that of the other party. When the number of star destroyers is equal, with the help of deep space ships, they are inherently more powerful than their opponents. Now, from top to bottom, it's almost one-sided. Those 2 cruisers, as well as the destroyers and assault ships of the human traders. Then they were divided up one after another by this group of soldiers. The remaining soldiers couldn't squeeze in anymore. Does not matter. They surrounded the frigates. Prevent the frigate from escaping. By the way, I was curious to see it. How could Zian kill all 7 frigates by himself? Zian also doesn't write ink. Said in the communicator, "Hai Tang, help me stop 6 of the frigates. But don't cripple them. When I kill one, you can release another." Hai Tang immediately understood Zian's intention. He responded very simply, "Okay." She came here to protect the way. Of course, what Zian said. How did she do it? No nonsense either. Then he rushed towards the frigates who were panicking. The soldiers who heard their conversation. I also understood Zian's plan. They all took action one after another, and together with the Kraken, 6 of them were blocked within a small area. As for how to block it? Very simple. A group of 6 cruisers. Surrounded by these 6 directions, front, back, left, right, up and down, turn on the energy shield to maximum. Whatever the frigate is doing inside. There's no way to escape anyway. Not even their energy shield can be broken anyway. Easily completed the insulting blockade. Only 1 frigate was left, darting from left to right, and began to doubt life. All created such opportunities. If Zian can't win again, that's really sorry. driving the Brilliance Kill towards the frigate whose spirit is gradually collapsing. At this moment. Such a scene. If these human traders don't know what the sudden appearance of the brilliant number wants to do, then their IQ is too low. The frigate captain himself was on the verge of collapse. He knew that with so many cruisers watching eagerly around him, the possibility of his survival was zero. Now I suddenly saw a mere reconnaissance ship. He actually wanted to harvest him as an evolutionary value. Suddenly, the last trace of reason was lost. Madly launched an attack on the Brilliance. However, the next scene. His spirit, which was about to collapse, completely collapsed. This ship. Detective. Check. Ship. Yes. What? What? Ghost. He is a real Tier 6 frigate. And because of the material support from the insects, the overall quality of his starship has reached the blue rare level. Asking for flowers. But this weird reconnaissance ship. Just like a ghost, his main guns, secondary guns, and even anti-aircraft guns all joined in. Out of 100 rounds of artillery shells, only 2 or 3 rounds could hit him. After the hit, his energy shield just trembled and then returned to normal. He was confused, and when this weird reconnaissance ship started to fight back against him, those shots that were so accurate that it made people feel numb, and those shells that were terrifyingly powerful, it really made him doubt his life. Just 3 rounds. Really, only 3 rounds. This frigate has reached level 6 and is an overall blue rare quality frigate. Then Zian easily blew up the cockpit. Until his death. You can even see the confusion and doubt about life on the face of this human traitor. Not just him. The soldiers around. One counts as one. At this moment, they all fell into an eerie silence. 0. Staring at this scene blankly. Zian. Of course they know. The unprecedented national champion. So famous, who doesn't know? They all guessed it. Zian. Fight a frigate. There should be no problem. After all, he is the unprecedented national champion in the Earth Federation within hundreds of thousands of years. It's not like fighting over a higher level has never happened before. Otherwise, why are there differences between geniuses and ordinary people? But never thought about it. Zian won the victory in such an easy and incredibly easy way. This. Is it really a duel between a scout ship and a frigate? Even if it is a frigate fighting a reconnaissance ship, it will not be so easy. It's really not that outrageous. Zian didn't have any big feelings. He thinks. These human traitors. The combat effectiveness is not even comparable to that of some interstellar pirates. Not to mention enemies that are comparable to Star Wars simulations and are fought on the battlefield all year round. #J1. It can be said that there is no difficulty, a starship with only the overall blue rare quality. But there is no matching strength. Purely here to give you evolution points. Seeing that Zian easily managed one. After the shock, the Federal Army released another ship. This ship is smart. Immediately start a guerrilla war with Zian. B. It's of no use. Do you really think that Zian's 100% overall red excellent quality is just a joke to you? Do you really think that those years in Zian's Star Wars simulation and the things he learned after entering Shenzhou Academy were all fake? Next. Zian, use your own strength. For the Federal Army. For everyone here who is paying attention. Showing A. The art of Star Wars. It also showed A. Why Zian? It can be judged by the intelligent optical computer to exceed the full score of the college entrance examination by 3 points. Why Zian? Can be hailed as the unprecedented top scorer in the college entrance examination. Ding. Extremely far away. The battlefield of star destroyers and deep space ships. Dazzling and terrifying. It was just the aftermath of the battle. Everything in that space was transformed into the most primitive atomic form of matter. No one dares to come close. Even those battleships were far away, afraid of being affected. That level of fighting. Deep spaceships can barely participate. Battleship. Just to deliver food. The other side. Battleships were watching the battle outside. One cruiser after another surrounded the city. Just like the audience watching the passionate sports of football and basketball, they are constantly cheering and cheering. And, howling. Hiss, this shot is so powerful. Oh my god. This positioning is too outrageous. Fight. Fight. Get on. The high-end frigate is just a novice in front of you. Beat him to death. Beat him to death. Oh my god. Classmate Zian, are you sure you are not a veteran of 10,000 battles on the battlefield? This combat consciousness, my god. 11. So this is the gold content of the unprecedented #1 champion in the country? Expect. The roar was occasionally accompanied by gasps of exclamation. The scene before my eyes. 380 is too shocking. Can you imagine what it would be like for frigates that are 1 to 200 meters long to be beaten by a reconnaissance ship that is only 79.9 meters long at most, and are unable to fight back? The high-end frigate accompanying the last human trader was blown up by the brilliance. The whole place was already so quiet that you could hear a pin drop, and this time, suddenly a voice suddenly reached everyone's ears. Drive that junior assault ship away for him. Lu Yuyu said enthusiastically. You can hear it from Lu Yuyu's voice. The battlefield on their side is also very relaxed. Yes. After hearing Lu Yuyu's order, 2 cruisers were chasing one of the assault ships. The attack was stopped immediately. Then they drove the assault ship over like a herd of sheep. Lu Yuyu's words. Zian naturally heard it. Immediately I became interested. Assault ship. He really hasn't really beaten it yet, not even in Star Wars simulation. As for the special recruitment exam, actually it doesn't count. This is also normal. The assault ships in the Star Wars simulation are all enemies that have been fighting for many years on the battlefield. Want to blow them up? How difficult it is. These human traitors have basically never been on the battlefield. Star Wars opportunities are rare. FFLX. Zian also wants to see it. Can I fight an assault ship with little Star Wars experience? Seeing that the assault ship was driven over, the surrounding federal troops immediately surrounded him into a round ball to prevent him from escaping. Zian immediately pounced on him. The other party was obviously in a state of madness, knowing that he must die. Seeing a reconnaissance ship rushing over like this, it must be killing like crazy. Even if you die, you will have someone to support you. The surrounding federal soldiers looked at him with wide eyes. Just want to see. Can Zian also kill this assault ship? The edge position of the enclosing circle. Haitang now entered a state of concentration, ready to rescue at any time. As for Guchin fighting them, there is also no stopping. Because they also want to see. Zian, how terrifying is talent? Facing a 300 to 400 meter assault ship. That pressure. It is far beyond what a frigate can compare with. More than 2 full levels. All aspects are not on the same level. The main gun shells could easily tear apart the frigate's energy shield before, but now, a full 10 rounds of main guns were fired back and forth for several rounds. The opponent's energy shield still showed no signs of being broken. The opponent's violent firepower also put great pressure on the brilliance. But today's brilliant number. But it is no longer the shining number during the special recruitment examination. Today's brilliant number, regardless of foundation, quality, or level, it far exceeds the original one. How long could the brilliant ship last? It has improved so much now, and Zian has improved a lot these days. He fought the opponent on an equal footing. Although the opponent's hull was damaged by more than 50%. In particular, one of the engines stalled, causing considerable problems with flexibility and speed. Although the opponent's fighting ability is not strong. But it is also a real assault ship. The gap in levels is by no means so easy to bridge. So one can imagine. At this moment, Zian's reconnaissance ship was evenly matched with an assault ship. The horror and disbelief in my heart. Filled in everyone's heart. Even from Liu Yu's side, there were several F***CK. Haitang stared blankly. Silent. Silent for a while. Zian was focused on it. In his eyes, there was only the assault ship opposite. There was only the human traitor with red eyes in the cockpit. After more than 50 rounds of attacks. When the Brilliance's energy shield dropped to only 9%. Finally, the energy shield in front of the opponent's cockpit was breached. He also punched a hole in the opponent's cockpit glass. The reason why Zian has always adopted this ultra-precise point-kill combat method. First, this method of combat is the easiest, most direct, and simplest. Second, only in this way of fighting can it be possible to kill an enemy who is stronger than oneself. Like now. Zian finally found the right opportunity in the opponent's serpentine movement. The last main gunshot was fired. Followed closely by dozens of rounds of secondary artillery. Secondary gun. It was also inspired for the first time. There were dozens of shells in total, connected in a line. Straight and precise, in the stunned gazes of everyone in the audience, in the instantly frozen expressions of the other party. Rush into the opponent's cockpit. Rumble. Fire, shock wave. Immediately afterwards. Zian seemed to feel something. The evolution value is recorded instantly. 1660 point. The smile on Zian's face widened. It gradually turned into guffaws. And at this time, he opened the personal information panel. Name, Zian. Realm, 7th grade warrior. Starship, Brilliance, Red Excellence. Bioenergy, 550. Evolution value, 3209. Wealth value, 4412. A full 3,209 evolution points. Wealth like never before. 7 frigates. An assault ship. These evolutionary values brought about even enough for Zian to evolve to the 3rd or even 4th level frigate level. But the premise is that the quality is shifted. If there are several main parts that have evolved to pink perfect quality. So these evolutionary values. It's enough to evolve to a 2nd tier frigate. By then there will be more pink perfect quality parts. There is absolutely no problem with the B frigate. Pink perfect quality. Powerful is powerful. B. The evolution value consumption also increases exponentially. There is no way around this. Want to get a more powerful starship, then you have to pay a higher price. This is the eternal truth. This trip. Zian achieved his goal beyond expectations. Of course. The cruiser escort times can't be wasted, right? So the next half month, Zian will still move forward. This time it will go directly to the destination. Let's see if we can find the location of the skeleton god of war interstellar pirate group. If possible. Nature is best. After all, this is information that Zian spent millions to buy. Besides, who would despise themselves for having too many evolution points? As for the evolution of the Brilliance, it's just a difference between playing a few days earlier and a few days earlier. If you can't find it, that's okay too. Anyway, this trip is worth it. Just at this time. Boom. Even if the distance is extremely far. An explosion from a star destroyer. The shock wave also impacted the starship here and moved it sideways for hundreds of meters. This shows how powerful it is. And fight. It seemed that with the explosion of a star destroyer of the bugs, it came to an end. The time interval before and after was only more than 10 minutes. The remaining 2 bugger starships were also destroyed one after another, even before the last bugger starship was destroyed. He also wanted to drag a star destroyer on the human side to die together. One Earth Federation is second, and one Earth Federation is third. All are advanced star destroyers. These 2 people have experienced countless battlefields. How could the other party succeed so easily? Finally, the idea of perishing together did not materialize. With deep reluctance, he was completely blown away. The remaining deep space ships. There is nothing more to say. But in order to keep him alive, he got information from them. For example, what purpose and conspiracy did their trip have besides attacking the students in the special recruitment camp of Shenzhou University? Anyway, no one believes that the 4-section insect race sent such force and spent a huge price to infiltrate the Earth Federation this time. It's impossible to say that it's just for special recruitment camps. That's pure bullshit. In order to stay alive, a lot of effort was wasted. He blew up his starship and used a tachyon shock cannon to knock out the insectoids in the cockpit. Only then could 2 insect human beings be caught alive. As for the rest, kill them all. Leave no one behind. If you're enjoying my content, please consider donating a coffee or checking out my shirts on TeePublic. It's over. This Star War involved a total of 6 star destroyers and more than 20 deep space ships. It finally ended with one's own victory. Everyone had joyful smiles on their faces, because what everyone has gained is very, very big. The first was to annihilate this group of insectoid and human traitors, including 3 star destroyers. This military exploit is absolutely extremely great. Secondly, it is the evolution value gained from destroying enemies. Lu Yuyu, Gu Qingzhan, and the deputy commander. It can be said that the smile is blooming on the face. To their level, evolution points are extremely difficult to obtain. But as long as you get evolution points, you will basically become rich. For example, Lu Yuyu. Her star destroyer is tier 7. Now that she has killed one of the star destroyers, she has gained enough evolution points to evolve her starship to the 8th level. Even if you don't have any dreams, there is no problem in evolving directly into the immortal ship. This also applies to Gu Qingzhan. Gu Qingzhan's starship is already at the 8th level. But to their level, as long as the age limit is not reached, you must have dreams, because the level is higher. The gap in just the first-order biological energy is extremely large. Tier 7 star destroyers evolve into immortals, and Tier 8 star destroyers evolve into immortals. The difference in combat effectiveness is huge. Zian was also beaming with laughter. This harvest exceeded his imagination. After solving it there, the federal troops went to clean up the battlefield. Not to mention Zian. As soon as the battle is over, then he drove the bright number to search. That search action was extremely skillful. When Lu Yuyu and others came here, what I saw was Zian driving the brilliance. I was searching around there. The kind that doesn't even let go of a small part worth only a few $1,000s. However, they all knew the environment in which Zian grew up, so they didn't think there was anything wrong with Zian's behavior. Not everyone is born with steamed buns to eat. The disgusting steamed buns in your eyes may be the delicacies that others long for. Junior brother, have you exceeded the limit of secondary binding? Lu Yuyu asked curiously. In fact, she just wanted to get a positive answer from Zian. Just judging from Zian's battle just now, the limits of his secondary binding, 10,000% lifted. If it hasn't been lifted yet? It's hard to imagine how terrifying Zian's talent was before it was released. While searching, Zian smiled and replied, yes. It was lifted a long time ago. Actually, I don't know how I got rid of it. One day, I felt an inexplicable feeling. The compatibility I had with Starship is back. Lu Yuyu was silent. Everyone was silent. So, is this the difference between a monster-level super genius and an ordinary genius? Junior brother, where are you going next? Do you want to go to the Imperial City Star with your senior sister for a few days? Lu Yuyu invited. Let me tell you, I have a lot of delicious food there. It will definitely make you want to come back. Zian smiled and declined. I still can't become fourth senior sister. Now is the period when my strength is rapidly improving. The days will be infinitely long in the future, and there is no shortage of time. Lu Yuyu didn't say anything more, and said softly, in that case, I'm just going back first? I still need to go back and interrogate these two insectoids. Find out what their conspiracy is. In addition, interrogate clearly to see if there are anyone else on their trip. Zian knew that this matter could not be delayed, and immediately said, let's talk through the communicator then. Lu Yuyu said no more. After saying goodbye to Gu Qingzhan and the others, they left here with the mighty starship. The whole journey, I didn't go to chat with Zian about what rewards Zian would get after making such a big contribution this time. Because there is absolutely no need to talk. After returning, as a senior sister, she would naturally fight for her junior brother. The Union troops left. He also took away the spoils of the starship he killed and left. Gu Qing fought against them and collected all the spoils. But their loot was not much. Because they fight at this level, it is almost impossible to preserve the enemy starship too completely. The biggest gain is the recorded value. Shaoan, are you going to continue training outside, or are you going back together? Mentor Zhan Wushuang asked. Zian immediately replied, we have only been out for a few days. Although with this unexpected surprise, I did gain a lot of evolution points. But now that everything is out, then you can continue to get more evolution values, I don't want to have too much evolution value. A few people laughed. What you said is in vain. This is what I said. Who can have too many evolution points? Well, in that case, we'll leave first. Gu Qingzhan's voice became slightly colder. The news from Shaozhang is that there is indeed a traitor among our special enrollment. When I go back this time, it looks like there will be a school-wide strict investigation. I want to see if there are any such moths in the school. Okay, let's leave first. Please take care of yourselves. The words fell. Several starships slowly accelerated. With a flash of light, the coordinates of the Chinese Academy of Sciences were locked. The space jump was started directly. This distance. For a starship of their level, it is like the distance from the bedroom to the back garden. Just for a moment. The starry sky was bustling with activity more than 10 minutes ago. At this time, there was only a large piece of wreckage left, as well as two lonely starships. After Zian finished searching for everything, together with Hai Tang, he started the pulse transition. Go to the nearest space relay station nearby. Not to evolve. Instead, go sell these things and take another day's rest. These days we are being monitored and followed. Really a little tired. Half a month later. A deserted starry sky. Accompanying the last mechanical reconnaissance ship, only one main gun shell from Zian directly destroyed the energy shield, cockpit glass, and the captain inside. This trip to hunt pirates is finally over. But it's a pity. Zian is now dead. It's not the skeleton god of war pirate group. The humans are a small pirate group with only one biological frigate at the most. The skeleton god of war pirate group has been searching for such a long time. Not even a hair was seen. This is a very common situation when hunting interstellar pirates. The vast majority of people come home empty-handed all year round. If interstellar pirates were really that easy to kill, it's not like piracy has remained so rampant for countless years. Now what about the pirate group that Zian killed? It's a coincidence. On the way back to the scheduled space relay station, just happened to encounter a cry for help nearby. Zian and Haitang went immediately. The moment the kraken appeared, it almost scared the pirates out of their wits. They immediately fled in all directions. But obviously he couldn't escape the pursuit, and was eventually destroyed by Zian. Even the last mechanical reconnaissance ship was dispatched by Zian with one shot. I saw a reconnaissance ship named Zian, which destroyed an entire small pirate group. And I don't know which remote area the two boats in front of me came from. A mechanical reconnaissance ship, a manned transport spacecraft, and the people on the transport spacecraft have long been dumbfounded. Manned transport spacecraft. It's like a passenger bus of the 21st century. And the people who take this kind of passenger bus in 943 are basically ordinary people, and basically the ordinary people, poor people. Maybe this word is not so pleasant to the ears, but it is the fact. There is only one mechanical reconnaissance ship escorting. It is said that a fleet like theirs is actually the safest when sailing in the universe. Because it's normal, they are too poor. Even if you kill them, the evolution value will not be lost at all, and it will only increase the probability of being discovered. Can't make much money yet. How much oil and water do you expect a mechanical reconnaissance ship or a manned spacecraft to be able to extract from it? Basically, no bandits will take action against them. Unexpectedly, they were so unlucky that they encountered this hungry pirate group. The pirate group seems to have even worse luck. It happened that Zian and Haitang jumped here. And just enough to kill them easily. Listening to the huge thanks in the communicator, Zian dismantled the parts of these pirate starships. Although I haven't found the skeleton god of war pirate group yet, but now it seems pretty good too. At least I've been running for half a month and I haven't found anything. That's enough. What happens next is simple. Zian decided not to rush back yet. Stay at the next space relay station first. Evolve the brilliance to level 8 before going back. When I return to school, based on the amount of bioenergy he is increasing every day, it has almost reached the critical point of evolving to the 9th level. It's equivalent to saying, he's due in a month. Will be brilliant. Evolve into a tier 9 reconnaissance ship, another half and the next 10 levels. Another half month later. Helicopter frigate. This is Zian's plan for the next 2 months. Frigate. It's finally here. Smiling happily. And in the thousands of thanks from those people. Zian, after the search was completed, together with Haitang, jumped towards the nearest space relay station. Somewhere in a space relay station, in a one-man starship factory. Zian has evolved for 7 days. Nowadays, the evolution of the brilliant number basically takes 7 days. The higher the level, the slower the evolution. But, along with the last piece of metal was swallowed by the keel of the brilliance. This evolution is declared complete. 8th level. At the same time, Quiconho also immediately gave Zian sufficient feedback. The biological energy that had been stagnant for a month without any increase finally broke through the shackles. You can continue to increase bioenergy. Zian directly consumes wealth value to convert. This time conversion. Even after switching 10 points at once, Zian only felt slightly uncomfortable. That is to say, there are so many natural resources and treasures these days, they really don't come for free. In fact, the treasures of heaven and earth temper the body, but it is definitely not just for the purpose of improving and converting more biological energy. In the last Star Wars simulation, the Zian brilliance was blown up by an inhuman junior assault ship. 18. He himself survived tenaciously. Regardless of his previous physical fitness, he would have died with the brilliance a long time ago. That's the difference. And in the last battle simulation, after the body has been strengthened several times, coupled with the various combat skills learned in school, for the first time a 9th grade insect warrior general was killed instantly with one sword, one knife, flash sale. These are all huge improvements. It just comes from the fact that this is an era when starships are the supreme force, no matter how strong your personal fighting power is. It is true that there is not much room for display. We've been out for a month. Haitang walked over on catwalk and asked in her unique magnetic voice, "Where should we go next? Go back to school, or use the second number of times to protect the path and continue your hunting?" Zian shook his head and said, "No. This time I came out and gained enough evolution points, so there is no need to waste time anymore. Now the most important thing is for me to evolve the brilliance to the frigate level as soon as possible. And when we get to the frigate, at least in the universe, at least he is not cannon fodder, at least he is no longer the lowest level cannon fodder." Zian looked helpless. Because he found out. The solar system is indeed too small, severely restricting his field of vision. The frigate captain is definitely not weak in the solar system. DJA. I didn't know until I got to a prosperous star system like the Shenzhou star system. Frigate. He's just a higher level cannon fodder. But anyway. It is at least several times stronger than the current reconnaissance ship. Now he can compete equally with low-level assault ships with very weak combat effectiveness. I believe it will wait until the brilliance evolves into a frigate. Especially after several important parts have evolved to pink perfect quality. He is confident. Not to mention that it can destroy all assault ships. That would be a bit too arrogant. But, at least he could save his life in front of the assault ship, but Zian was 10,000% confident. But now at the reconnaissance ship level, his confidence is really low. Haitang naturally had no objections and nodded to express that he would listen to Zian. Then he looked at Zian and opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but in the end he swallowed it back. Just looking at Zian's eyes. Somewhat unkind. Zian was confused for a while. In fact, Haitang's unkind eyes have always existed these days. Zian would ask what was going on at first, but Haitang never said anything. Later, because of the need to evolve the brilliant number, it was simply gone. Now the brilliant number has evolved. He said speechlessly, "No, let's just say whatever we have degree? Your expression. I don't think I have offended you in any way." Seeing that Zian was really confused, Haitang gritted his teeth and said with a cold face, "You are a person who doesn't mean what you say. We agreed to treat me to dinner, but what happened? It's been a month, right? Oh, when you asked me to be your guardian, it was very polite. Say something about inviting me to dinner or something. Now that I've accepted the mission, it's all over. You said we're going to treat you to dinner? Huh? Last time at Harbor Star, I ended up paying the money." Anger flashed in Haitang's beautiful eyes. Zian's expression froze. His head hung slightly, he coughed slightly, and said with a guilty conscience, "Nonsense. I didn't treat you to dinner yesterday." It's okay if I don't say it, but Haitang's fists clenched when he mentioned it. Dinosaur meat buns? Zian apologized hurriedly. Yes, this is indeed my fault. But you have to believe that my heart for you must have been sincere. After saying this, he paused and quickly changed his words. No, I mean, when I said I wanted to treat you to dinner, I was sincere. Come on, in order to apologize, I'm going to eat today. Eat whatever you want. Haitang stared at him. How can this person speak without thinking through his brain? However, he felt a little relieved inside and nodded coldly, okay. You keep your word. After saying that, he walked outside on cat steps. Zian quickly followed. This matter. It is true that he is unreasonable. But, he really had no money before. I spent all my money buying information. When I sold those parts last time, I did make a profit of 7 to 8 million. But haven't we been busy evolving starships? Wait until the meal is finished. It's almost time to go back. When you go back, you won't be rushing all the time, and you will take appropriate breaks along the way. It took about 7 days to arrive at the school. The full value of biological energy for an 8th grade warrior is 670 points. Based on my current increase of 10 points every day. Counting today, it only takes 12 days. That is to say, the 5th day back to school. He can continue his evolution from 8 to 9. This speed. It's appalling. Good thing. This time he exposed his strength again and again. He also established himself as a monster-level super genius. Despite the speed of his evolution, it will still shock the eyes of countless people. But at least I won't doubt myself. Not much to say, along with Begonia. I started wandering around the space relay station, looking for a delicious restaurant. At the same time, China Academy. It's especially lively today. Because there have always been only special recruits from the legendary special recruitment camp. After a full half year of special training. Finally returned to China University today. It is even the first time for many special admissions students to enter China University. At first, seeing so many classmates coming out, they looked at them curiously. They also looked proud. However, soon they lost their complacency. Because what they hear most is these classmates pointing fingers at them. Then they discussed with each other who was stronger between them and Zian. Most people say that Zian is stronger. How can this make these proud special admissions students happy? They were so proud that they named themselves Phylong Pavilion. Specially distinguish yourself from other students to show your special identity. No. In the communication chat group of Phylong Pavilion, all these complaints. This Zian, I don't know what kind of ecstasy was given to these students, but most of them said that he is more powerful than us. That's right, how do they know what we have been through in the past 6 months? In the past 6 months, I have killed 5 pirate reconnaissance ships by myself. Yes, I admit that Zian is not weak, but I will never be worse than him. That incident last time. If Vice Principal Zhang hadn't stopped me, we, Phylong Pavilion, would have been able to kill the frigates of those human traders, and maybe even a few assault ships. Woolen cloth. No, I think with us, we can lose one destroyer after another without any problem. Didn't you say that Zian went out to hunt pirates? When he comes back, I will be the first to challenge him. I can kill him with one hand, okay? In this group, it was normal at first. The bullshit behind is getting more and more outrageous. In fact, these special admission students are just plain mean and bragging. They are indeed proud, but they are not really stupid. At least these ordinary special admission students think that they and Zian are evenly matched. Do you really think that being the top pick in the country is for free? What we talked about from beginning to end was actually just for the sake of bragging. Just sour. Anyway, bragging is awesome, everyone is bragging, who can't do it anymore? But then this boast became somewhat outrageous. Why kill a destroyer? How about beating Zian with one hand? All the bragging special admission students blushed in unison. It's okay to brag, but this is somewhat irrelevant. However, bragging is bragging. But Zian is still somewhat dissatisfied. When Zian comes back, the challenge is inevitable. And at this time, the 3 strongest men recognized by Phylong Pavilion, Tu Jiu, Yu Qian, and Hu Qiqi also appeared. Tu Jiu, if I tell you to brag, brag. Don't brag so outrageously. Zian is definitely capable. Don't underestimate him. Yu Xiao, you're right, a challenge is a challenge, and the boat will capsize in the gutter. Fox Qiqi, speaking of the last incident involving the Zerg and human traders, I heard from Vice Principal Zhang that it seemed that a classmate of our school, Zhao Nuheo, discovered it. Hu Qiqi, although I don't know who it is yet, I suspect it should be a certain senior, but no matter who it is, she is our savior. Hu Qiqi, everyone remembers, after the Federation or the school announces this incident, we know who the benefactor is, and we must thank them properly. Hu Qiqi, don't really think that we can defeat those insectoids, and so on. Hu Qiqi, I can't boast like this. Hu Qiqi's words It immediately aroused unanimous approval from the members of Phylong Pavilion. Don't worry, don't worry. This must be a lifesaver. All these complaints. This Zian, I don't know what kind of ecstasy was given to these students, but most of them said that he is more powerful than us. That's right, how do they know what we have been through in the past 6 months? In the past 6 months, I have killed 5 pirate reconnaissance ships by myself. Yes, I admit that Zian is not weak, but I will never be worse than him. That incident last time. If Vice Principal Zhang hadn't stopped me, we, Phylong Pavilion, would have been able to kill the frigates of those human traders, and maybe even a few assault ships. Woolen cloth. No, I think with us, we can lose one destroyer after another without any problem. Didn't you say that Zian went out to hunt pirates? When he comes back, I will be the first to challenge him. I can kill him with one hand, okay? In this group. It was normal at first. The bullshit behind is getting more and more outrageous. In fact, these special admission students are just plain mean and bragging. They are indeed proud, but they are not really stupid. At least these ordinary special admission students think that they and Zian are evenly matched. Do you really think that being the top pick in the country is for free? What we talked about from beginning to end was actually just for the sake of bragging. Just sour. Anyway, bragging is awesome, everyone is bragging, who can't do it anymore. But then this boast became somewhat outrageous. Why kill a destroyer? How about beating Zian with one hand? All the bragging special admission students blushed in unison. It's okay to brag, but this is somewhat irrelevant. However, bragging is bragging. But Zian is still somewhat dissatisfied. When Zian comes back, the challenge is inevitable. And at this time, the 3 strongest men recognized by Phylong Pavilion, Tu Jiu, Yu Qian, and Hu Qiqi also appeared. Tu Jiu, if I tell you to brag, brag. Don't brag so outrageously. Zian is definitely capable. Don't underestimate him. Yu Xiao, you're right, a challenge is a challenge, and the boat will capsize in the gutter. Fox Qiqi, speaking of the last incident involving the Zerg and human traders, I heard from Vice Principal Zhang that it seemed that a classmate of our school, Zhao Nuheo, discovered it. Hu Qiqi, although I don't know who it is yet, I suspect it should be a certain senior, but no matter who it is, she is our savior. Hu Qiqi, everyone remembers, after the Federation or the school announces this incident, we know who the benefactor is, and we must thank them properly. Hu Qiqi, don't really think that we can defeat those insectoids, and so on. Hu Qiqi, I can't boast like this. Hu Qiqi's words. It immediately aroused unanimous approval from the members of Phylong Pavilion. Don't worry, don't worry. This must be a lifesaver. 7 days, based on the scale of the universe and the long lifespan of a biological warrior. To say it took the blink of an eye would be an understatement. Now even Zian is only an 8th grade warrior. His lifespan is definitely 1,500 years. Nearly double the average lifespan of ordinary people. At this time, China is outside the star system. Inside the bright number. Zian looked excited. What a good man. These special recruits, who claim to be members of Phylong Pavilion, are all a bunch of good people. A week ago, the news of their return has long been circulated on the school forum. The busybodies kept comparing Zian with them on the forum. But comparing Zian with those ordinary special recruits, the 3 geniuses in the special recruit camp. Definitely not one of them. They are all Tier 9 reconnaissance ships. There is no comparison at all. It's certainly not fair. Zian never reads the forum. But he has the message from Bai Xiaoying, the Rabbit Man's senior sister. Bai Xiaoyuan sent it to him. So Zian ran to the school forum out of curiosity. As a result, you can see, many people in the special recruitment camp challenged Zian. Among them were 2 students from the special recruitment camp who coveted or were not convinced that Zian was receiving such treatment. It even launched a challenge to Zian to compete for treatment. The conditions offered are quite high. One of them even took out 10 third-grade treasures of heaven and earth. Third-grade treasures of heaven and earth. Starting price is 50 million. Because all the treasures of the third grade of heaven, materials and earth are over 100 years old and are of extremely precious quality. There are so many people in the universe who need heavenly materials and earthly treasures, but most of them can only grow in fixed areas, and their output is extremely limited. Most of them are sold when they are first or second grade. Those that can last for hundreds of years are extremely precious. It is said that for this special enrollment, my family runs a company that sells Tian Kai Dibao. In order to challenge Zian, he specially asked his family to mail these 10 treasures to him. The first time Zian saw this challenge post on the forum, he said nothing. Reply directly below his post. After 1 week, you can choose the location, time, and combat method. I accept your challenge. This challenge is not accepted. Aren't you just a fool? There is no reason to extrapolate the 10 third-grade treasures of heaven, materials, and earth delivered to your door. And tomorrow. It's the day to accept the challenge. Just thought of this. Zian's mood suddenly became better. There is another challenge post. That person's challenge is not as good as this person's. But it's not too different. Zian plans to go 1v2 tomorrow. Because he thought about it. Since accepting this challenge, I believe that few people will challenge me again, simply show a fighting power that is beyond their reach. In this way, the challenge of the freshman list. Presumably no one would challenge himself casually. This avoids wasting time by constantly accepting challenges from these people. Wouldn't it be nice to solve the problem once and for all and then earn 2,000 points every 6 months? Zian thinks it is very fragrant. Besides, another big thing happened on the school forum. That is the Federation Imperial City Starship Academy. A super genius who is hailed as a monster that is rare to be seen in 10,000 years has appeared. His name is Hu Honghu. The reason why this person caused a lot of discussion on the school forum. First of all, he is only 18 years old. He is already a second-level frigate captain. To be honest, just talking about this point alone, Hu Honghu can definitely be called a monster in terms of cultivation. But just saying this is not enough to cause such a sensation. After all, there are geniuses who practice very quickly in the Earth Federation. The starship captain ultimately depends on his Star Wars strength. The reason why it caused a sensation. The main reason is that this person, since the start of each school, went to set up a ring at the entrance of a college that ranked 9th among the top 10 colleges. And there is no restriction on whether the opponent is a freshman or an old student. As long as he is from the other school, anyone can challenge him. Even old students and even teachers can challenge him. Of course it is impossible for any teacher to challenge him, and his method of setting up the arena directly in front of the opponent's college undoubtedly aroused the anger of the students of this college. This is a slap in the face of the entire academy. At the beginning, the old students were very restrained and no one challenged them. They are all top 10 students, top talents from all over the Earth Federation. Which old student can be so shameless as to challenge the opponent to a new student? Duh. As the freshmen of the school were mercilessly crushed by each other one after another. No one among the new students in this school dared to take the stage. These old students can't sit still. Old students at the frigate captain level begin to take the stage to challenge. 2. The ending is brutal. When the frigate captain, who was recognized as the most powerful among these veterans, was also defeated by the opponent, the entire college suddenly fell silent. Even though, BBBC, everyone wanted to eat this man alive, no one came to the stage again. That's the assault ship captain. I can't afford to lose this person. Finally, after confirming that no one from this academy, ranked 9th in terms of Star Wars strength, came on stage to challenge him, Hu Honghu chose to leave. At the same time, he said, "The Federation Imperial City Starship Academy is the most powerful academy in the Earth Federation, bar none. He, Hu Honghu, wants to make the Federal Imperial City Starship Academy a well-deserved third place in the Star Wars system. His ultimate goal is to come to China University and compete in the arena, but not before that. He will pick all the other top 10 companies. What he did, what he said. Once out, it completely detonated all the universities in the entire Earth Federation. At that time, Su Zian and Hai Tang were monitoring and tracking the insects. Didn't know about it at all. Now I know. But Su Zian paid a little attention and watched a few of this man's battle videos. Then he smiled and stopped paying attention. It's time to say it or not. This person's strength is indeed quite good. Needless to say, the speed of cultivation can indeed be called a monster. But the strength of Star Wars. Su Zian doesn't think the other party is particularly strong. How to say? This person's Star Wars strength is equivalent to that of someone who has been fighting on the battlefield for 2 or 3 years. Compared with most students who have never been on the battlefield, they are indeed very strong. But just the battle just now. Su Zian can find at least 20 fatal flaws in the opponent. Don't say 20. As long as Su Zian finds a fatal flaw, this person will undoubtedly die. That being the case, what's there to pay attention to? The reason is that this person's ability is superior to that of an academy. The first is that the opponent is a frigate. Secondly, the opponent's Star Wars strength is indeed stronger than those students who have never been on the battlefield. Finally, there is the opponent's starship. Su Zian estimated that the quality would not be low. In the end, this man fought with the strongest among the frigate captains of that academy. The own damage rate is over 60%. And if it were Su Zian, you can kill the opponent with 0 damage. Then you still care about the devil. Let him come. Let's try setting up an arena in front of our Shenzhou University. Beat the shit out of him. What's more, the opponent continued to challenge all the way. If you don't have half a year, don't even think about coming to China University. And half a year later, maybe he is already an intermediate frigate? Just get it out of your head. The brilliance has also entered the accommodation star of Shenzhou University. The appearance of the brilliant number, he was discovered immediately by his classmates. It's the brilliant number. Su Zian is back. Haha, classmate Su Zian is really on time. What time have you agreed to challenge tomorrow? I will definitely go over and cheer you up. Classmate Su Zian, the opponent is an 8th level reconnaissance ship. What level is your brilliance now? The students asked enthusiastically through the communicator. Su Zian smiled and replied one by one. But for the question of asking about the level of your starship, selectively ignored. Joke. Of course I can't say that now. What if the other party knew that his brilliant account had risen to the 8th level, and suddenly regretted not challenging him? Who should he turn to? No, absolutely not. Su Zian has already regarded the 10 third-grade treasures of heaven and earth as his own. No accidents are allowed. I casually dealt with the enthusiastic classmates with a few words. They divorced Hai Tang again. Su Zian drives the brilliance. Head straight to Brilliant Island. Don't say it. I haven't come back this month. I really miss my own island. The first thing to do when returning to Bright Island. I just went to the breeding room to see the growth of the 2 starflowers and steelgrass that I had been thinking about. Go inside. Su Zian breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that these 2 natural treasures were still full of vitality and had grown a lot. It seems that my guess is correct. 100 wealth value is enough to support the treasures of these 2 trees for hundreds of years. Another month and a half or so. This stargazing flower and this steelbone grass. It will be able to grow into a real century-old, 3rd-grade natural material and earthly treasure. After seeing that it was growing well, Su Zian immediately started sowing seeds. This month, all the treasures of heaven, materials, and earth that he brought out have been consumed. It has been almost 10 days since I swallowed any heavenly material or earthly treasure. Seeds are planted and wealth is injected. All done. Zian is back. The news quickly spread throughout the college. It seems that it is certain that Zian will accept the challenge from the special recruits in the special recruitment camp tomorrow. It was still dark the next day. Almost 80% of the freshmen ran to the battlefield of Star Wars first and waited. The challenge is scheduled for 10 o'clock in the morning. At 8 o'clock, these two special admission students are waiting. According to their agreement, whoever challenges Zian first will be left to Zian to choose later. Except them. Special recruits from the special recruitment camp. They all came too. Including Tu Jiu, Yu Qian, and Hu Qiqi. They simply wanted to come over and see if this so-called unprecedented national champion could really be worthy of this unprecedented person. There are also meow cats, white birds, etc. 9:55. Zian still showed up at the right moment. What challenges are not challenges? He wasn't interested. He is here to purchase goods. As soon as the brilliant number appeared, Tu Jiu, Yu Qian, and Hu Qiqi immediately looked over. In terms of appearance, I can't see any difference, but having said that, it still looks very good. Zian also saw their starship. Or, the area where the special recruitment camp was located was very empty. The students around them were far away from them. You can tell them apart at a glance. Glanced. Then he lightly withdrew his gaze. He looked at the two starships in the field that challenged him this time. It was also at this time. The voices of the two people came out from the communicator. Zian, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Haha, you are really trustworthy. You showed up at the right time. I don't know whether your strength is good or not. These two people haven't finished speaking yet. Zian interrupted directly. I asked you, have you watched too many live experience movies of the virtual universe? Why, before we fight, we have to have this scene where you mock me, and I mock you. Okay, let's start quickly. Oh, by the way, the things you agreed on must be released to the supervising teacher first. Zian's words choked them so much that they couldn't say anything else. After holding it in for a long time, one of them said depressed and annoyed, okay. Since you don't want to talk nonsense, then stop talking nonsense. Tell me, whose challenge you accept first. Don't worry, as long as we lose, we will never deny it. The things have been placed with the supervising teacher. Zian nodded with satisfaction and said, that's right. Everyone, please be more patient. You are all young people. Don't tell me that there are many things. If you don't agree with me, then F*** me. After a pause, he said directly, don't waste everyone's time, you can come together. There was a moment of silence in the communicator. Immediately afterwards, a series of shocked voices sounded, including Hu Qiqi and Tu Jiu. They all frowned and looked over at Zian. At the same time? This Zian. A little too arrogant? Yes, it is undeniable that the other party must be very strong, there is no doubt about this. However, no one in their special recruitment camp is mediocre. Even they didn't dare to say that they jumped easily. Zian. Why do you say that? Or rather, he really thought he had won the first place among the freshmen before they returned to school. Do you really think you are number one? Then your mentality changed and you drifted? If that's the case, then there's nothing noteworthy about him. Tu Jiu and the other three shook their heads. I thought this Zian would be a person. Now it seems. That's all. Just taking the first place among the freshmen, just receiving some praise, my mentality started to become arrogant. This person will definitely not have any great achievements in the future. After hearing what Zian said, the two special admission students who challenged Zian were immediately angered. Zian, are you looking down on others too much? That's right, we know that you are indeed very strong, but it would be too insulting for you to fight against two. Okay. Aren't you very confident in yourself? Well, that's what you said yourself. Don't blame us for not following the rules and bullying you if you lose then. Zian smiled and said, "You can do this." The words are not finished yet. At this time, the long-lost system, suddenly a few more lines of letters suddenly appeared in the field of vision. Wealth value exceeded 10,000 points detected. New system function is activated. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the ability to bind the second starship. Note 1, the second starship binding also has 100% fit. Note 2, after binding 2 starships, the host consumes a certain amount of wealth and can jump between the 2 starships at will. Note 3, if one of the starships is destroyed, you can continue to bind the second starship, and the fit will be permanently maintained at 100%. Note 4, since the host will be able to bind 2 starships at the same time, the host will receive double the full amount of bioenergy. Continuous fonts continued to appear in front of Zian's eyes. Zian was stunned on the spot. After being stunned for several seconds, his eyes suddenly widened. Unbelievable, surprise, shock, excitement and other emotions suddenly emerged in his heart. Has the system enabled new functions? And this function, if you only take it literally, doesn't it mean that I am alone? Can 2 starships be bound at the same time? Sudden. Zian was startled again. Wealth value exceeded 10,000 points? This is, please give me flowers. The optical watch on the left wrist suddenly vibrated. The moment he looked down, Zian's expression changed instantly. An extremely bad premonition emerged in my heart. And at the same time, the optical watches of all the students present moved a little. They all looked down. I discovered that it turned out to be an announcement posted on the school's official website. And this announcement also forwarded an announcement from the Earth Federation. They were all stunned. Then click on it and take a closer look. The announcement does not have many words and is very simple and concise. But the content inside made everyone present slowly open their mouths. His face was stunned. Tu Jiu, Yu Xiao, and Hu Qiqi were all disappointed with Zian a second ago, thinking that Zian was gone. Then they all gasped. Then their faces became rosy uncontrollably. Look at Zian's side. Full of gratitude and complexity. Look at the 2 special admission students who were so angry at Zian's words. I was angry, but I just ignored the case announcement issued by the school. Then the anger that filled his heart seemed to be drained out in an instant. Sluggish. Stunned. The content of the announcement. It's also very simple and clear. About 36 days ago, the following announcement and reward will be given to Zian, a new student of our school, for his outstanding contributions to our teachers and students, and to the Earth Federation. 36 days ago, classmates Zian and college lecturer Haitang were on a mission to hunt interstellar pirates and passed by the wandering planet Harbor Star. Zian used his keen insight, wise analysis, and extremely inconspicuous anomalies to uncover the human traders and fourth-order insectoids who had infiltrated the territory of our human Earth Federation. Student Zian made a prompt decision and immediately reported the discovery to the school and the Earth Federation. The school's senior officials and the Earth Federation immediately jointly dispatched support. After that, Zian relied on his brave and fearless spirit to monitor and track the enemy fleet of 3 star destroyers and 5 deep space ships as the captain of the reconnaissance ship. Later, with his superb wisdom, he analyzed the enemy's target step by step, and with the reminder and advice of classmate Zian, he successfully ambushed and strangled the enemy. Successfully rescued the enemy's original target, the school's special recruits from the special recruitment camp and Vice Principal Zhang. He also successfully destroyed a series of subsequent vicious plans of the enemy and made extremely outstanding contributions to the Earth Federation and our school. Now, after discussion with the Earth Federation, we have finally jointly awarded Zian the following rewards. 200 million yuan in universe coins, 20,000 school points. In addition, the special title of Bright Star will be given to classmate Zian. Note, this title enjoys the same privileges as General of the Earth Federation Army. Just this announcement. the whole audience. You can hear the needle drop. Zian's futile shouting became particularly obvious. There's a fight. What's the point of deserting? Hurry up, whoever agreed to challenge you, I'm telling you, don't go back on it. Even if you regret it, you can't take those things back. I disagree. Quick, come and hit me. I'm so arrogant, why don't you come and beat me quickly? Don't stand there and don't move. Ah hey. What a loss, Zian felt his head hurt. Even if this announcement is 10 minutes late. The challenges are over. No. 1 minute later. The challenge has begun. At least during the challenge, the two people opposite had absolutely no time to read the news. Now, I can only hope that my arrogant attitude will arouse the anger of the two people opposite me. Zian obviously thought too much. The special admission student whose family is engaged in the trade of natural materials and earthly treasures was stunned for a long time after reading the announcement. Suddenly he coughed lightly and said with a smile on his face, "Then what?" "Brother Su, don't. We are all our own people. Our own people. Brother Su, you are the unprecedented champion in the country. This is confidence. Where is the arrogance? Who said you are arrogant, Brother Su? I will be the first to deny it. By the way, I consider myself invincible in this challenge. So I decided to just admit defeat. Those things naturally belong to you, Brother Su." Zian was originally full of anger. When I heard this sentence, I immediately lost my temper, and a smile instantly appeared on my face. But then I thought about it, wrong. This is not right. I, Zian, need 463 to make you admit defeat. I, Zian, have repeatedly relied on my strength to reach these war zones. I, Zian, do not eat the food that comes with my mouth. I, Zian, will never. Yes, that's what I mean too. We voluntarily admit defeat. Brother Su, you even have the courage to track those bugger star destroyers, so who are we? I don't want the things anymore, they all belong to you, Brother Su. Listen to what this other person says. Zian's face turned cold and he said, "Ahem, that's fine too. Teacher supervision, have you heard everything? They took the initiative to admit defeat, so these things belong to me. Supervising teacher. Classmates. Hold. The food that comes with a sigh of relief is the food that comes with a sigh of relief. These things combined are worth several hundred million? If you can give me several hundred million to Zian, I will sigh." This so-called challenge, in this form, which can be called a farce, it was over before it officially started. But Zian got what he wanted. Pick something that doesn't challenge you. Is it still important? Why, do you have to give these two a beating to show off your awesomeness? No. The announcement made by the school this time is awesome enough to explode. The human race and the universities of the Earth Federation have made outstanding contributions to this time. Reward 200 million universe coins. Reward 20,000 school points. Cosmic coins are rewards from the Earth Federation, school points are rewards from the school. And the last honorary title of Bright Star. Even more outrageous. Because Zian's contribution this time is indeed too great. It can be said that Zian solved the insectoid conspiracy entirely by himself. The destruction of those 3 star destroyers and 5 deep space ships had an inseparable indirect relationship with him. Enjoy the same authority and treatment as a general of the Earth Federation Army. What does this mean? This means, Zian can obtain sufficiently high special rights within the Earth Federation. It means that when necessary, it can even mobilize local federal troops. Moreover, it is equivalent to having an honorary status in the military. In the future, they will fight on the battlefield. You will be able to obtain military merit, which can be used to exchange for corresponding materials and resources from the military. It can be said, the benefits are too great. And at this time, The whole audience finally woke up from this announcement. They didn't know what happened this time, because these special admission students were also temporarily issued a gag order. The purpose is to prevent the information from being leaked, in case there are additional people from the 4th section insect human race hiding in the human race area. After receiving the message, the reply will cause the other party to escape, etc. Now after so many days, the interrogation has ended. Of course there is no need to hide it anymore. Suddenly. Exploded. All exploded. All students present. And students who were not present but saw the announcement issued by the school, one counts as one. Everyone was confused. This, Zian. Are you so reckless? No, just going out for a trip. Can we detect human traitors and disguised insectoids? If only these two things could be discovered so easily. Can the Universal Federation of Humanity still have a big headache over this? After that, you used a mere reconnaissance ship to track and monitor their fleet. Nyobi. It's true that the cattle batch exploded. Don't say anything else. Just such intelligence and courage. It was enough to make everyone stunned. This is too awesome. Zian is awesome. Oh my god. Did you indirectly destroy the fleet on the front of the main star destroyer by yourself? Holy shit. So he is the savior of our Phylong Pavilion. This. The ordinary classmates were stunned. The special recruits in the special recruitment camp were also dumbfounded. Yesterday, I was still in the Phylong Pavilion communication group, and all kinds of braggarts said that they wanted to pin Suzy to the ground. It's better now. He is such a lifesaver. Even if they are very proud. B. There is still no major problem with the three outlooks. If you are bragging, you are bragging. If you are not convinced by Zian's treatment, you are not convinced. No one can deny that he is the savior of people like him. Because they all know it very well. If this matter was not caused by Zian, it's really possible that none of them will survive. Including the captain of the deep space ship, Vice Principal Zhang, will undoubtedly die. Everyone was shocked. There was silence for a while. Starships flew towards Zian one after another and stopped in front of Zian. Then. Special admissions. They all walked out of their starships. Suspended in the air, using the ultramicro engine of the space armor, just like the 21st century Iron Man, of course it looks much more high-end. Then they floated in front of the brilliant number one by one. He bowed solemnly to Zian behind the cockpit glass and said, "Thank you, classmate Zian. Brother Su, thank you. If it hadn't been for you, Brother Su, we might have been doomed this time. Brother Su, if you have anything to do in the future, just say hello, there will be mountains of swords and seas of fire. From now on, I will be your little brother, Brother Su. Anyone who dares to disobey you must first see if our company disagrees." One after another, sincere voices reached the ears of everyone present. Beside, the supervising teachers looked at this scene with smiles. His eyes were filled with relief. The students around me seemed to have slightly changed their minds at this moment. At least, they are proud. But at least the three views are correct and the principles are clear. Zian was also quite surprised. He just thought about it after this incident broke out. These special admissions students should be too embarrassed to challenge themselves anymore. But I didn't expect it. These people still think themselves so seriously. From the lines in their words, you can hear that they are indeed grateful to themselves from the bottom of their hearts. Zian smiled casually. A thought came to my mind. The cabin door of the Brilliance opened. Zian also flew out and said with a hearty smile, "We are all classmates, there is no need to be like this. And I believe that if everyone encounters the same thing, they will make the same choice as me. So, you're welcome." These people looked at each other and smiled. They are all young people. Just keep your gratitude in your heart. I will definitely repay the favor if I have the opportunity in the future. There is no need to keep saying it. Everyone immediately responded with a smile. Brother Sue, please add a communication friend later. Yes, add me as a friend. Oh, by the way, Brother Sue remembers that you are still a first-grade evolutionist, right? My starship is going to be upgraded to 8, so I have to trouble you. Haha, I plan to go from 8 to 9, Brother Sue is also busy? Brother Sue, TSK, how did you discover those insectoids? Can you tell us in detail? I'm super curious too. Brother Sue, can you tell me? Looking at this group of extremely enthusiastic special admissions students, Zian felt a little overwhelmed. He could only say immediately, no, you don't have to give me the starship to evolve just to thank me. First of all, you have to go to the official website of our evolution division to find out more about it. Find my queue list for the 4.0 evolution starship, it's already 30 years away. Secondly, since you want to know more, no problem, there's nothing I can't say. I'll post the general process on the forum later when I have time. Since there is no one to challenge me now, I will run away and see you back home. Zian was about to slip away. These people hurriedly said, no. Brother Sue, add me as a friend. Even Tujiu, Yu Xiao, and Hu Chichi, who came out of the starship at some point and came to Zian, all spoke. Tujiu scratched the metal on the back of his head. Still said, Sue. Zian, let's add a friend. Just call me if you need anything in the future. Yu Xiao also said at this moment, me too. Feel free to say hello in the future, Hu Chichi's soft and cute voice also said, classmate Zian. Let's add a friend. We can learn from each other later. Her tone was also full of sincerity. Those charming, clear and pure fox eyes looked at Zian eagerly. It seems to be breathtaking. Zian was shocked. Damn it. There is a vixen. Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.